And here come people signing in. I can see there's a delay because I can see when people are starting to connect and then I don't see names for like 10 seconds after they come in. That's what all this delay is at the beginning. So folks, will be just a minute before as the computer logs everybody in. So let's see about another 30 seconds or so and see if we're slowing down right now. It's like watching ants come in.
Sometimes I feel like I'm on Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, I know. We sit here. This is the downside of the Zoom. Always makes it fun. Okay, I think we're leveling off on participants. So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is David Eisenberg. I'm running the behind-the-scenes tech of this meeting, and I'd like to welcome you to our program on transform your yard into an environmental green zone with the American Green Zone Alliance. Long title, but a very important topic. So we are running this as a webinar, and that means that we can't see or hear you, but we do want to interact. So there's at the bottom of your screen, usually it's at the bottom of your screen, but some devices it might be at the top. There's a Q&A button, and anytime during this program you can type a question, but we will read the questions at the end. So you type them in now, we'll still read it at the end, but it will be there waiting for us. Please save the chat for comments to just general. We're not going to read questions out of the chat, but I will forward the chat on to Daniel, and he will get to see those after the meeting and the Glendale Environmental Coalition. So that being said, I'd like to turn this over to Jane Patel, who's going to moderate this program, and enjoy. You're muted, Jane.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending our event today on transforming your yard into a residential green zone with the American Green Zone Association. I'm Jane Patel. I'm a member of the Glendale Environmental Coalition's Outreach Committee, and I'll be moderating the event. This is one event of a 4-part series that the Glendale Environmental Coalition and the Sierra Club Verdugo Hills chapter is presenting this summer to help inform the community on ways to apply environmentally friendly solutions to different aspects of your daily lives. In June, we had an event on composting and food waste management with the City of Glendale's Public Works Department. In July, we had an event on landscaping for wildfire prevention and home hardening with the Battalion Chief Fire Marshal for the City of Glendale. And in August, we had an event on the various gray water systems and benefits of their use with graywateraction.org. To see recordings of our past workshops, we'll post a link in the chat to our webpage at the end of the meeting. Today, we're featuring Dan Mabe of the American Green Zone Association, who will be speaking on the health and environmental dangers of gas-powered maintenance equipment, how to find a list of green landscapers or transition your landscapers away from gas to electric maintenance equipment, how to find rebates for transitioning to electric-powered equipment, tips on reducing the use of chemicals, being water-wise, mulching, composting, selecting regional native plants for your garden, and how to find landscaping companies that offer best practices for fertilizing, weed, and pest control. During the course of today's event, please type any questions you have in the Q&A, and we will do our best to get to all of them at the end of the presentation. And now I am thrilled to present to you today's speaker, Dan Mabe, founder and president of the American Green Zone Alliance.
Thank you very much, Jane. David, it's a pleasure to be here with your organization this afternoon and with all the participants in the Glendale and possibly surrounding areas. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and screen share and we'll get right into our presentation. Okay, that's the sound we hope to hear more of as we phase out internal combustion technology to beautify our neighborhoods. I'm Dan Mabe with the American Green Zone Alliance. Who are we? A leader in low impact sustainable grounds maintenance strategies. Our mission is to prudently, and I want to stress prudently, transition the grounds maintenance industry to quieter, more sustainable practices. And the applications are commercial crews who service municipalities, schools, and residential properties. So a lot of people ask, how did we get here? Well, there is a well-organized movement nationwide that really wants to ban primarily gas leaf blowers. There are over 200 municipalities that have some form of ban or restriction and ordinance in place. And again, it is really growing rapidly. So we are very determined to reach out to the gas industry, show them some of these alternatives and what they can do to keep up with this growing demand of phasing out, again, the loud and the polluting equipment in primarily residential neighborhoods. So coming from the gas industry myself, I worked as an operator when I was very young with the man of the house, spent my summers and my weekends doing this line of work. I actually did this as a young adult, owned my own gas business for a while. When I got out of college, I circled back to the industry and I said, you know what, we need to go in a different direction. This was back in the mid 2000s. And I said, I'm gonna start a gas-free maintenance business, which I did. And here are some of the impact issues I realized gas operations created. Of course, at the top and in the center is noise. But we also know about the harmful emissions coming out of the exhaust of all of these tools, not just gas leaf blowers. There's health risks primarily to the operators, but also the surrounding community. And then lesser known things about maintaining a gas operation is the toxic and solid waste components lower left, resulting in maintaining small gas engines cradle to grave. We're going to give you an example of what we all hear pretty much every day in our neighborhoods. Okay, here's our gas contenders right here. Woo! We got power trim. Looks like we have, smoke coming out of the back of the blower there. Okay, so first and foremost, what's really disturbing about this video is these workers are not wearing any hearing protection and any respiratory protection at all to protect them from the harms of operating this equipment at such close quarters. So to expand on the noise, this could be any one of us relaxing at our houses, indoors or outdoors. Here come the gas crews. We all are working from home, a lot of us more than others, of course, but during, of course, the peak of the COVID pandemic, a lot of people started to reach out to us because they didn't realize that this is the noise profile that they were experiencing. Crews across the street, to the left, to the right. This is what that noise profile can look like when you're at home and the gas crews come 4 or 5 days a week. If they were electric crews, this is what that noise profile would look like. So, important thing to know about noise is that it's real, it's physical. Hearing loss is permanent and it's irreversible. Gas tools operate at thresholds and decibel levels that exceed safe working conditions for EPA, NIOSH, ANSI, and OSHA. That is why the hearing protection is so crucial for the workers. But there's also a frequency component to this. Gas tools operate at low frequencies. That means they travel long distances and penetrate barriers. Electric tools, on the other hand, are going to operate, most of them, below the thresholds of safe working environments as far as dB levels. And also they operate at high frequencies. I like to use the mosquito analogy. When you have a mosquito right next to your ear, you hear it pretty loud. As it moves away from you 6, 8 inches, a foot and a half, you can barely hear it. So this is an example of what that high frequency noise profile sounds like and looks like. Now that is a 74-inch industrial mower. It's all electric. As it moves away from us, you can see how that sound profile drops off significantly. You can barely hear it per ANSI standard at 50 feet. All electric tools are going to have this characteristic. As far as that solid and toxic waste component, coming from the industry myself, I know what I needed to do to keep my gas tools running. We've shadowed gardeners in LA County for nearly a decade. We are conservative when we say one worker can account for over 50 pieces of solid waste that goes into landfills. Most of this waste does have toxic residues attached to it. And then most importantly are the workers. This is a city. We will never impugn any city, but it's interesting how some cities are very proud of their sustainability record and their environmental justice issues on the forefront of, yet their maintenance departments still have to use primarily gas tools. Here's some workers that purchase their own gas and gloves for protection. So worker health should be at the top of the list to start to transition. Okay, some of the solutions we're going to present. We're going to start with institutional. This is the city of South Pasadena, not too far away from you guys. It was the first AGZA green zone city. And what does that mean? Well, we started with their Garfield Park, and we transitioned Garfield Park to all people-powered and battery electric operations for routine maintenance. It went so well working with their public works department and their vendor. We made an action plan with the city to transition all properties in South Pasadena to be AGZA Green Zone certified thereby eliminating internal combustion operations for all routine maintenance. And we were able to do that within a year. Back then, it was a very big deal. We had, of course, the mayor and city council, the vendors, various environmental organizations attended, but also members of Congress and California State Senate were present at this ceremony. We would like everyone to know that the city of Glendale has followed suit. Here is us in the process of establishing Glendale's first AGZA green zone properties. We start with basically introducing the tools. We do training with the city workers and the vendors. And it's just a great achievement that came from within the Public Works Department at the city of Glendale to green zone certify these 8 properties that you see here. We were able to have our ceremony remotely, of course, but it was a very big achievement. We want everybody to know that with these reports, it's not just a special button or an award, if you will. There's actual progress. And how do we measure that? Well, we measure these with what we call ELF reports. It stands for Environmental Landscape Footprint. We can actually inventory the gas fleets prior to the transition and give very granular, accurate numbers of CO2 reductions, criteria pollution, that noise profile, and that solid and toxic waste component. It's so incredible that the city of Glendale has actually committed financially to the tune of $100,000 to expand into other parks, and they're going to make an investment in their crews, and it's just an incredible thing. So definitely they are setting the example for the residents of the city of Glendale. So it's important when we do this that we're not looking at the workers negatively themselves. These are just men and women who want to do their job well, and beautify our properties and our communities, therefore keeping our property values high, commercial and residential. We're very careful not to demonize workers. This is essential. This type of engagement that you see here in this picture, this is where AGZA has been most successful, when we're able to enable the workforce and give them information that allows them to understand their working environments and how they can be improved, allowing them to test commercial electric tools in their normal workload settings to demonstrate to them that these tools are capable. What's interesting is 2 of the individuals in this room are in their early 70s. One is in his mid 60s. This is an aging workforce. So we hear feedback all of the time when they're able to adopt the new technology. It's lighter, it's less vibration, and they feel less fatigued and healthier when they're not using gas. We are out there in the front lines working with the sole proprietors that have usually 1 pickup truck, 1 to 2 operators that go around and help us with our properties. Here's an example of a very quiet leaf blower being used at Compton Unified School District. Compared to a 2-stroke gas leaf blower, it is substantially much quieter. That grass was actually damp. They did that on purpose. They are doing mostly hardscape, dry hardscape at the school district, but we asked them to allow us to test the blower technology, commercial electric leaf blower technology, on one of their more challenging workload settings. And I'm happy to say that they procured enough equipment to transition most of their district based on this workload testing. Here's another example of a private company doing an HOA. Okay, we're here with Noel, our new clean air gardening warrior, here at an HOA in Thousand Oaks, California. And he's just demonstrating how quiet his work is. Noel is from Suntech. We're doing a certification right now of their work, verifying that they are all electric, that they are charging the batteries of the tools they're using. As you can see, they're using a lot of ego. And we're documenting how unloud they are when they're providing their services. Till next time. This HOA is just so happy because they have not had to compromise on aesthetics, yet these crews are using this zero emission and ultra low quiet equipment. That's that company Suntech I mentioned. They have solar panels on the top of their vans. They charge the batteries of the electric tools that they use with these solar designs. It's pretty amazing that they have a power plant on wheels. Okay, so here is that steel blower that you saw being used at Compton Unified School District. It's one blower and this backpack battery that the operator wears. This particular battery in the picture is rated at 1148 watt hours. So if we understand that there's 1000 watt hours in 1 kilowatt hour, then we can really understand what it costs to operate one of these blowers for an hour. So these batteries can last, depending on how the operator uses it, 1 to 3 hours. But we just put the 1 hour and 2 hour benchmark in cost. So if they're operating this tool for 1 hour straight at 15 cents per kilowatt hour, they're going to actually they're going to pay 18 cents per hour, and that's using it at its full power. If they're using it judiciously on hardscape and they get 2 hours out of it, which we now see to become more commonplace, they can operate this particular blower at 9 cents per hour. And if we look at that upfront cost there, yes, it's a lot more than the gas. You have the blower, the battery, and the charger for $1,250. You can see the cost of electricity for the year based on 950 hours of annual use. And you have a first year cost, operating cost of $1,421. You look at year 2, you're at $1,592, year 3, $1,763, and year 4, $1,934. If we look at that compared to this Echo PB770T, this is a very common 2-stroke blower used by the industry, especially here in Southern California. Now, we were very, very kind. If we look at the bottom, based on 950 hours of annual use, we were kind to say 85 cents per hour, but in reality here in California, it's more like 110 to 120 per hour because of the cost of our gas. But if you look at the procurement cost, the year 1 of $600 with 2-stroke oil mix, maintenance for the engine, and gasoline, you're looking at a first year cost to the operator at $1,407. And then you look at year 2, $2,214, year 3, $3,021, year 4, nearly $4,000. So you can really see that difference in cost of operation benefit. Now we're getting to what I feel is the most important part of our presentation, because we can't just put this all on the gas industry and the men, the women, and the operators and what they're doing. We need a full paradigm shift that's going to include commercial and residential municipal property management and owners. We need to change our thinking as a society of what our landscapes should be. Are we going to be completely void of ecology? This is what I call, and I want to give Tony Lund out of Sustainable Princeton for providing this slide. This is what we call hyper-manicured landscaping. This is what we've been accustomed to for the past 3.5, 4 decades. It's very neat, everything's in place, but to me, it's rather bland and boring. Take a look at this, for instance. This is a very well-kept yard, but it's easier on the eyes. It's beautiful. It has texture. It has colors. And guess what? This homeowner allows the gardener to mulch these leaves. They're not going to ask the gardener to use a blower, 2-stroke gas leaf blower with hurricane force winds to make this lawn perfectly pristine before they leave. So some of these other little things we can do as homeowners to allow the gardeners not to have to keep up this particular look and standard can help a lot. Other things, we live in a drought area. So if you want to take part of the turf out and replace it with these pollinators, you're going to be creating a lot of ecology in your own backyard or front yards. So the landscaper, trust me, they've been conditioned again for 3 or 4 decades to give us this. And believe me, they have a truckload of industrial, professional level gas equipment to give it to us. The homeowner, sometimes we don't know what we want. We're busy. We just really want to make sure that we're keeping up with our neighbors and we're being good neighbors by keeping our places well kept to keep property values high. So basically, what we need to do is communicate a little bit better with the gardeners to understand what it is that we want and how we want it done, because ultimately it's up to the homeowner. Here's an example of this gentleman, Jared. He lives in Westchester County, New York. He heard about AGZA through a workshop, and he asked, what can I do? Because I asked my gardener, would he use electric tools? And he said that his gardener laughed at him. And I said, well, what you can do, Jared, is if you have the means, one way to do it is to buy your own set of electric tools dedicated for your home. And then we can have your gardener take a little certification course. You allow access to the gardener to these tools, and then they make sure that they're cleaned and put away after each use. It has been working flawlessly for over a year, and they created their own little residential green zone at home that way. What steps can homeowners and gardeners take today, tomorrow, to help us move in this more sustainable, lower impact direction? Well, we can stop or reduce the use of gas leaf blowers, mulch leaves with a mower, use brakes. I just made up a new word. Use rakes or brooms in selected areas. And even when you use electric blowers, we really encourage operators to use them efficiently and judiciously, not kicking up dust plumes and things like that. Homeowners, perhaps you can consider paying your gardener a little bit more to go electric. And gardeners, if there's anybody here that's a gardener listening, and we always give this message to all the gardeners that we interact with, we ask them to consider how important they are to us and the quality of life in the communities that they work in. And some resources here, the South Coast Air Quality Management District, they have the Commercial Electric Lawn and Garden Exchange Program. So commercial operators could actually trade in their aging gas tools and trade them in for these commercial level battery electric alternatives, and they can get up to 75% off with those gas trade-ins. And you definitely want to go to the South Coast Air Quality Management District website, and I believe they have the link right on their landing page. And you can always contact AGZA to get more information about this program. And here is that information. You can reach me at that email that you see there. And then you can also go to agza.net to understand everything that AGZA is doing. And with that, I want to thank everybody for sitting through this presentation.
Thank you, Dan. And I also want to say thank you to all of you who've been following along. Now we're going to segue to questions. Oh, let me start my video. There we go. Okay, great. So, David, can you please read us the first question in the chat?
In the Q&A. Yeah, I want to thank you also. And just so everybody knows, I put the information on the slide with Dan's contact information. It's in the chat. So because we stopped the sharing, so you can get it that way. And
thank you, David.
Copy and paste out of the chat. You know, you mentioned one program with the SQ, I forgot the acronym already. The South Coast Management District. Is there any other incentives to help people pay for, that's out there to help gardeners pay for equipment?
Not that we know of right now, but we do know that an Assembly Bill 1346, recently passed and is on its way to the governor's desk for signature. That bill actually is going to phase out the sale of a category of small gas engines, primarily lawn and garden equipment, starting 2024 in the state of California. But with that bill comes a $30 million mechanism to go to the California Air Resources Board, which will then be, it'll be disseminated to the various air districts in California for new programs. It'll take a little while, but that is the only other one that we know of. And that's, again, that one's coming down the pipe there, but currently the South Coast program is the only one that we know of right now.
Okay. I have a question about charging the batteries. So, because the batteries don't last all day, and a lot of these gardeners work very, very long hours. How do they charge, or do they get extra batteries, or what would they do?
Yes, David, extra batteries is the first thing. They would need to load up on enough batteries to handle their given workload. And we explain to the gardeners when we do the training that switching a battery, you want to look at it as the same way of refueling from a gas can. And when I had my all electric business, especially in the mid 2000s, and we're very successful with this model as well, the gardeners are taking advantage of what we call opportunity charges at their client's house. So they can have a decent battery bank, but they can constantly be charging throughout the day. We ask them to inform their clients that they're going all electric, and usually they're very happy about that, and ask the clients if they would mind if they can do some opportunity charging at the house. And if there's any question about how much it costs, it's literally sometimes anywhere from 9 to 15 cents, depending on how long the charge is. So the cost is usually not an issue. But the ones that we've been able to train are really making this work. And to add to that, sorry, I know it's a long answer. The ask is not to go cold turkey, get rid of all your gas tools. We've been having our best results when we get these operations to replace 1 or 2 tools at first, and then they add on to it.
Okay. And following that up, how would, how do the gardeners or a homeowner, they want to go electric? How do they even start knowing which products to use? Is there a place to find gardeners who, if you're hunting for a gardener, can you find a gardener that uses only electric? Is there a registry? And how do the gardeners find the tools and know which ones are good and which ones are not?
Great question. I'll start with the how do you find a company that does that? We have a list on our website. They are AGZA certified service pros. We vet them, and there's not a lot of them, but the list is slowly growing. So we encourage you to go to our website, and then also you can also do a Google search. But we are hoping to get more of those companies offering electric services. But if you're local here, start with AGZA, and then if there's any new companies that we learn of, we'll go ahead and add them to our site. And then also, again, that Google search. As far as the tools themselves, AGZA had some really rough experiences, unfortunate experiences, roughly 8 years ago, when we recommended tools without testing them ourselves for our green zone projects when they started to expand. And we soon realized that not all tools were created equal, yet some of these companies were very savvy and had incredible marketing prowess, if you will. So you can go to the AGZA site and see who is what we call AFTC, that's AGZA Field Tested Certified. AGZA Field Tested Certification is our platforms that we've tested independently of the manufacturers. Now, with that being said, we do not favor those manufacturers. It's just an extra level of information for consumers to inform themselves. We encourage that. Go to Google and go to consumer reports. And definitely what I encourage everybody to do is really do their homework and see who has had recalls, especially recalls with defective equipment that may be rather dangerous. So again, we are for all things electric as long as it's safe and it's durable. And we will give raw X's and O's of what we've experienced, but really we do encourage people to do their homework through the sources that I just suggested.
Okay. That's interesting. It doesn't sound like because you're spending a lot of money, so people want to make sure they get the best product, and that would be a good issue. We have a question about the social justice involved with talking with your gardeners, because a lot of the gardeners are from minority and low income communities, and how do we convince those communities? How do we a lot of them don't live in Glendale. They live, they travel by truck and come into the city. How do we talk those communities into understanding the value of this and make it affordable so that they can keep their work going?
Yeah, there's a number of different ways. Right now, nationwide, by the way, we do this nationally. Like you said, David, I like how you said that, cities could and perhaps should lead by example. And the ones that have and done these transitions with us, we're being asked to come back and engage with those proprietors, those operators. So they invest some time and resources into creating these community workshops where we gather, we bring the tools, and we give and impart this engagement and this education to that demographic. So that's one way of doing it. We do this with a number of nonprofits nationally. And I really do feel that we need more funding for that type of engagement. It shouldn't be just like, here's funding to replace gas with electric. AGZA knows full and well that that's not going to work. So I just want to let everybody know, calendar allowing, we are in contract with the South Coast Air Quality Management District to do this type of engagement for their commercial electric exchange program. And you can reach out to AGZA, and if we can coordinate with you, we can come out and engage with some of these workers.
And Jane put that link to the South Coast Air Quality Management District in the chat.
Yeah, specifically it's for residents to purchase or professionals to purchase or get a rebate for their electric lawn mower items. Is that correct, Dan?
Yeah, that's correct. The South Coast AQMD has two programs. One is the residential program, which is lawnmowers only. Residences can trade in their old gas mower and get a brand new electric mower up to $250 off of it when they trade it in. We suggest that they do that, and they allow gardeners to use it if they're not doing the work themselves. And then there's a separate program, the commercial program, where institutions and proprietors, professionals in the industry could trade in their gas tools and get up to 75% off of retail with that gas trade-in.
Okay, so we have a question from one person who just bought an electric blower without doing the trade-in first. Can she still get the rebate, or is there like a retroactive situation in those cases?
If she is a resident, she does not qualify for the commercial exchange, which does have blowers. The residential program only is lawnmowers right now.
Is it retroactive? I mean, if people just purchased lawnmowers,
well,
they have to do this first.
I don't believe it's retroactive. And if this person is a professional, we can look into it, but if this person again is a homeowner, homeowners do not qualify for the commercial program.
Okay. We have a question about corded equipment. So, you don't require the batteries. Is this something you recommend for homeowners, or are there reasons not to?
No, I do. In fact, when I had my all-electric business in the mid-2000s, I was using stuff with cords because the technology wasn't even near what it is today. If your home is small enough and it's situated to where you can use corded electric tools, I will tell you, they last forever if you buy good ones. And they're definitely something that we highly recommend. And we also recommend people-powered methods and tools as well. At my home, I only use people-powered unless I need to get on my roof and blow the roof off for fire control reasons, all those dry leaves, because I live here in Woodland Hills, and it's very hot, very dry, and the fire code requires me to keep those leaves under control. But other than that, I have a ground sweeper, I have a rake, and I have a broom. But that would be first, then corded tools, and then if needed, then battery electric.
Okay. The signs. Can you talk more about the AGZA signs for yards and properties?
Yeah, the signs, I mean, we have them on our site. When we started this residential green zone initiative campaign, we wanted to take this really incredible institutional success and create basically an initiative for the homeowners to do this on their own. So with the signs, they have little QR codes on them. That QR code takes people to a place on our website that has a lot of useful information, impact information, tips on how to make this successful, and also links to organic land care practices as well, best practices. So it's an initiative. The signs are small, they're modest. We didn't want them to be obnoxious, but people use these signs to let the community know, hey, I've done this, perhaps you can do this as well.
Okay, we have a comment, so I pasted it in, but one of our, Dan mentioned that, he did this trade-in with the lawnmower, and you have to take it to a certified scrapper, and they will give you a receipt, and then you get your rebate. So can we talk about those certified scrappers? Where do people take this equipment, and what do they do with it when it's traded in?
Yeah, and I think that's Dan Brotman. He's a city council member for the city of Glendale. Hey, Dan. I believe the closest certified scrapper to Glendale, I believe it's in Sun Valley. They have a list of them on the AQMD website, but that is true. You would have to take that in, but we do know that the Air District has a very strong agreement with that scrapper. That lawnmower, that gas tool has to be destroyed to never come back again. And so we can tell everybody with confidence that when they trade their gas mower in or their gas tool, that this stuff is earmarked to be destroyed for the scrap metal value.
Very good. So we have some people from outside of Glendale watching the program. So we have a question from Tamala in Burbank, who's very involved with Burbank issues, and she wanted to know, have you worked with the city of Burbank or the Parks and Rec or the school districts there?
We attempted to. Mayor Pro Tem of South Pasadena, Michael Cacti, is also a governing board member for the South Coast Air Quality Management District. We kind of went on a tour pre-COVID to all the cities under his air district jurisdiction, if you will. Glendale is under him, and so is Burbank. We had introduced this to Burbank, gave them a lot of information, and we just have not heard back from them yet. But we're always here for any community that wishes to engage and start the conversation.
Okay. And I believe, this is my question, not on the Q&A, but I live in a condominium, and there's a board of directors, and I know there's people who live in apartment buildings where there's a manager. And how do we talk to the manager or the board to talk about getting our building gardeners to use this program? Because they're not directly under control of us.
You know, that's great that you brought that up, because currently this is where AGZA, I feel, is being utilized very efficiently with our role with the Air District right now. We have engaged with HOA boards, given them comprehensive presentations, very specific examples of transitions of other commercial properties, other HOAs. And we are working currently with boards, and there's also, of course, the residents who are very concerned about the noise. And we're making some progress there where the board is, I'm not going to say mandating, but asking and strongly suggesting that their vendor or contractor engage with us so we can go out and provide field workshops for those companies, bring those tools to the actual properties and prove to them that these tools will generate and perform at the same work production load capability as the gas ones that they're using. And if there's any little differences, and that we're able to show them, operationally speaking, how to make sure that they're going to stay profitable.
Okay. So we would just forward the AGZA website to the people? How would?
Yeah, I would even say, yeah, you can forward it over just so they can have some general idea. But I really think it's up to the residents to tell the board, look, this is something we're very concerned about. Would you consider bringing this group in to educate us a little bit on what can be done about it?
Okay. We have a question about, there used to be a Minority Gardeners Association in LA. Do you know if that's still in existence or there's an equivalent? And also, there's a number of homeowner associations in the city of Glendale. Do you work with the homeowner associations to educate the residents in each area?
I'll answer the second question first. We work with anybody and everybody, any homeowners association, anywhere where we're contracted, we will engage with, and that includes the city of Glendale. As far as the minority association, I am not entirely sure which one that is, but we do know that NALP, the National Association of Landscape Professionals, currently enveloped a group that was made up for minorities in the industry. And we're not sure if that's a great thing or not, because traditionally NALP is really against any kind of electrification, large scale electrification, if you will. But that's something that I should research. I'd be interested to know myself.
Yeah, it does sound interesting. So we have one last question. The rebates, again, they're not just the city of Glendale, they're anybody in the South Coast Air Quality Management District?
Yes, and those boundaries cover LA, Orange, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties. And it's basically first come, first served. The current program is running lower on funds because it just really took off like wildfire after we really started to get out there and engage with communities in all four of those counties. But we are encouraged that there is going to be some funding coming our way for a new one, perhaps early first quarter next year.
So I just wanted to let everyone know that I just posted a link from the AQMD, South Coast Air Quality Management District's website that includes information on both the commercial electric lawn and garden program, as well as the residential lawnmower rebate program. And that is in the chat right now. Just to be clear, Dan, I know you went over this momentarily, but I just want to be super clear for all of our viewers. The commercial electric lawn and garden program covers leaf blowers as well as lawnmower equipment, versus the residential lawnmower rebate program is only going to cover lawnmowers. Is that correct?
That is correct. And additionally, for the commercial one, it covers weed whips or weed whackers, hedge trimmers, and actually a lot of chainsaws, pole saws and chainsaws. So it covers a lot of those tools.
Okay, but the residential program is just for the lawnmowers. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay. So that's all the questions, Jane.
Terrific. All right, well, we will wrap up and I will say a couple of final words. First off, I just want to thank Dan for his really informative presentation today, and presenting all of this great information that we can take back to our homes as well as to our communities and lawn care professionals. Okay. All right. And then I'll also follow up and say that we hope that you enjoyed the presentation, but if you'd like to learn more about the American Green Zone Alliance, go to agza.net. That's AGZA.net, where you can find out more about low noise lawn care solutions and how their initiatives can help you and your community become a green zone. For those who are watching this live, we'll be sending you a follow-up email with the links in today's presentation. We'll be posting a recording of this presentation on the Glendale Environmental Coalition website, that's gec.eco, along with links to many additional resources. There you can also see a recording of our previous events on composting and food waste management, landscaping for wildfire prevention and home hardening, and information on various gray water systems and their environmental benefits. Thank you again for joining us this summer for all of our eco-friendly lawn care events. Please continue to check in with our website for information about future educational events at gec.eco. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you, Jane. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Dan.
Bye all. Till
Bye.
next time.